to say this before we left, and I think every married man here can appreciate the fact that these words need to be said. All right. Throughout our lives, we are faced with countless situations where we need to make a decision. Whether it's deciding what to wear, what university to attend, or whom you choose to spend the rest of your life with. Decisions have consequences that affect our lives and how we perceive the world. Deciding to go to China to further my education was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Being the first person in my family to go to university, I felt very proud and at the same time burdened with the responsibility of continued success in my studies. Moreover, China was not the most popular destination for higher education at the time, due to the proximity to the US. However, I tend to seek new experiences, and China was that and much more. It also helped that my wife, my girlfriend at the time, had gone there a year before. I can remember my first day of classes. I always considered myself a very studious person. If you teach it, I will learn it. The Chinese language proved to be very difficult. The first day of class, our teacher came in and she immediately started speaking in Chinese. On the first day, she came in, she said, 大家好 我现在欢迎你们来中国，我是你们的老师。Day one. So, of course, I looked to my left, to my right, and the people to my left and my right were also looking to their left and their right because we didn't understand anything. But then, because of the diverse amount of students there, we also had some people from Korea, Vietnam, and neighboring countries as well. Surprisingly, these students responded, 老师好. And I was amazed, also upset, because it was day one, right? This was the day that we were supposed to begin, and I was already behind. So I decided to put my head down and do what I needed to do. But again, the Chinese language proved to be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. What I learned was that just like in English, where everyone has their own unique way of speaking the language, Chinese, and in China, depending on location, they also have accents and particular ways of speaking. For example, they would teach us standard Chinese. One common expression is, what are you doing? So that would be 你干嘛 in Chinese, right? So I would go home, I study, 你干嘛, 你干嘛, 你干嘛. Okay, cool, got it. And I go outside to talk to the local people. And I don't hear what I study, right? I studied in Wuhan, right? And they have a certain accent. So when I went outside, I heard, 你干嘛事? Which is the equivalent to 你干嘛, right? Which is the standard. But I did not know that, right? So I found it very difficult to understand the people because they didn't speak standard Chinese like how they, taught us in school. For example, in English, no one says, how are you doing today? I am very well, and so on. We have shortcuts and different accents, and so on. So for me, one of my favorite phrases, well, my go-to, was 对, 对. 对 in Chinese is equivalent to like right, like yes, yes, yeah, right. So if I did not understand what someone said, I would immediately go to my default, which is 对. So I went to the shop and I used my body language, of course, and the guy was speaking to me, and he asked me some questions, but his accent and the way that he was speaking prevented me from understanding, because in my mind, Chinese was standard, but not so much. So he would ask me very simple questions, and I still could not understand. He would ask me, where are you from? In Chinese, that's "你从哪里来的?" But I didn't understand what he was saying. So I would just say, 对, 对. And he'd give me this look like, all right, okay. And what are you doing in China? And I would look at him and I would say, 对. He's like, all right, let me try it one more time. He's like, so how old are you? I'm like, oh my God. 对. But after some time, experience, hard work, I slowly began to understand the language better, more, so much so that I completed my degree in psychology in Chinese, and I worked at a university teaching English for 8 or more years. Yeah. So I am a returning Dominican, well, not voluntarily, but you know. When I told my family about my decision to go to China, my mom was not pleased. She had no one on that side of the world who could check in on me, or more importantly, report back to her. My dad was very encouraging, to say the least. From the moment I left home, I was resolved to see things through to the end. And that resolve was immediately tested when I arrived and I couldn't understand anything that was being said. The language, the buildings, architecture, gestures, lifestyle were all drastically different than what I was accustomed to, and honestly, pretty intimidating at first. My experience in China challenged the way I saw and understood life. It exposed me to knowledge and culture that I would come to love and respect. And most of all, it made me feel more connected to the world. I cannot say that all my experiences in China were positive, but I can say that every challenging situation forced me to grow, adapt, and strive for a better understanding of myself and others. Understanding each other is fundamental to forming strong relations, and the formation of the DCFA signifies a large step towards forming stronger and lasting relations between our countries. My time and experience in China have endowed me with the knowledge and experience to affect my country positively, and I'm sure that many of us here feel the same way. I only ask that we are offered the opportunity to put those skills and abilities to use for the betterment of our country and the Dominica-China bond. Thank you. 谢谢.
Thank you very much, Kivon. And also thank you for having all gentlemen here turn to their wives and tell them how good they look this evening. We could tell many stories about living in China, those of us who have blazed the trail. But what about the stories of Chinese people living in Dominica? Right now, we'll invite Miss Stella Zhang to tell us her story of her living in Dominica.
Your Excellency Charles Sovereign, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Sovereign. Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Skerritt. Honorable Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House of Assembly. Your honorable members of Cabinet and Parliament. Your Excellency Lin Xinjiang, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Dominica. Your Excellency Steve Farrell, President DCFA. Members of diplomatic corps. other prominent secretaries, Ms. Karen Prevost, Acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Monsignor Eustace Thomas, Father Thomas, other speakers and contributors, and my dear colleagues from Chinese business community in Dominica, and the executive members of Chinese Association in Dominica, and other distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is a great honor to be offered the opportunity to speak at this function here tonight. As you may know, my name is Stella Zhang. I'm from a business by the name of Dragon Windows that manufactures windows, doors, shutters, and a variety of other construction materials. I actually see many faces of our customers here among the audience. Thank you. And this is a company that was founded by a Chinese businessman 20 years ago in Fengkoli industrial site. That is a factory that was 90% destroyed during Hurricane Maria in September 2017. And now, 5 years later, this factory has been relocated to a state-of-the-art new facility at Woodbridge Bay, opposite the port, operating with 50 staff, 90% local. And we just celebrated our 20-year anniversary in July. As one of the private businesses that was initiated by a Chinese investor and then built upon with hard work from our excellent local team over the 20 years, I would speak from my heart that we value a stable social and economic environment under the strong leadership of this administration. And we as a manufacturing business cherish the opportunity presented by the lead that Dominica is to be built back with resilience and quality, where we think Dragon Windows products fit in nicely, as our customers would testify for us that the windows we had built for them survived the Category 5 hurricane. We also appreciate the steady diplomatic relations between the two countries that benefit the nature island with improvement of infrastructures such as the stadium, the Edward Oliver Liebler Highway, many schools around the island, and housing projects, and the newly completed Dominica-China Freindship Hospital. These are only some of the fruits of the strong diplomatic relations of the two countries. From business point of view, consumers of Dominica enjoy the variety of goods offered by many Chinese stores at affordable prices. In this summer, the Confucius Classroom at State College opened their doors to students for learning Chinese language and culture. So I personally look forward to being greeted by Ni Hao from more and more people on the road. Now with the launch of DCFA, Dominica-China Freindship Association, I believe it will build a platform for people-to-people relations, communications, and cooperations. We at the Chinese community welcome it and would offer all the support that we could give. By putting my thoughts together for this speech, many reflections of my work and life in Dominica came to my mind. What is the most unforgettable moment of all? Is it all the carnival jump-ups and t-shirt bands we participated and enjoyed? Plenty of them. As we were there every year, you saw our jumping ups in Bluebird t-shirt bands every year. Hopefully, we are going to do it again in 2023. Is it the long walk mud cleaning, and river bathing after Maria, that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. By the way, once is enough.